Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Channel 8 sports presentation. Tonight from East Brunswick's J. Doyle Field, it is East Brunswick High School football as the Bears host J.P. Stevens in a Greater Middlesex Conference Red Division game. Hi, I'm Jimmy Allinder, and I'm being joined once again by Phil Hill. Phil, this is our 13th season doing East Brunswick High School athletics, and tonight we have a great football game between two heated rivals, J.P. Stevens and East Brunswick. The question I have for you is the 38-6 opening season loss by East Brunswick losing to Bridgewater Raritan. Is that indicative of the team we're going to have on the field this year?
Jim, I don't think so, and I certainly hope not. Bridgewater Raritan was an exceptionally fine football team. They had a lot of people who came back from last year, a very strong offensive line. It's had some very talented backs, and quite frankly, they were overmatched. Marcus Borden said it's what's up front that counts, and he was right. They just had a very tough offensive line and defensive line. This East Brunswick team is a different team from the team we left off last year. I mean, gone from that team is Dave Kilkenny, Rich Whalen, Frank Sermonello, Fagan Winter.
You can go on and on.
You could go on and on. A lot of quality players they lost. And this is a young team. This is a young team. They have a bevy of backs. Jason Brenner at fullback, you're going to see. Russ Leota and Sean Corio are young backs. And I think Marcus Borden is probably waiting for one of them to break out of the pack. They all seem to be on the same keel right now, and I think he's looking for one of them to take a step forward. They do have some talent, however. Scott Hops at quarterback. Scott Hops has been asked to do a tough job to handle the E-bone as a quarterback, as it would be for any quarterback. In addition to that, he is the defensive captain, and that puts a lot of pressure on the young man. But we found a pleasant surprise last week in Brian Merrigan. He of baseball fame and good hands, showed good hands against Bridgewater, hauling in the 30-yard touchdown pass. We have some quality linemen. Adam Goldstein, of course, is back, and a few others. But they're going to have to set the tone, and they're going to have to do what Marcus said they're going to have to do in order to win, and that is control the ball, Jimmy.
Okay, what about tonight's opponent, J.P. Stevens?
J.P. Stevens is a young team. J.P. Stevens, of course, gone from them is the great super back, Michael Yearwood, who we're glad at last graduated. So they have some very young talent. You're going to see a lot of sophomores playing for J.P. Stevens, but they have their entire offensive line back, and that's what the Bears are going to have to contend with. The Bears' defense is going to have to contend with a veteran offensive line for J.P. Stevens. They played a tough Cerebral team, 21-3, and I think they're a lot better than they showed in Cerebral. So we could have a quite even matchup tonight.
Okay, so it's going to be a beautiful evening for high school football this evening as East Brunswick hosts J.P. Stevens. We're going to be back with the action in just a moment. Okay, we are back for the action. Tonight's game, East Brunswick hosting J.P. Stevens. This is a Red Division game. You see the captains out there for the respective teams. Representing East Brunswick, Scott Hops, who will be the quarterback. And number 26, Chris Bettis, linebacker, running back, perhaps. Had a little bit of action last week, I understand.
A little bit, not a whole lot of action for Chris Bettis. Marcus had been saying in the papers that Chris Bettis was going to be the man at fullback, and for some reason or another he didn't see a whole lot of action offensively. Perhaps he was saving him defensively. Chris Bettis, without a doubt, one of the premier players to come out of East Brunswick. Just a hard-nosed kid. He's probably been in every camp there was this summer to get ready for this season, and he's a leader for this team.
Right. Phil, we alluded to the lack of experience on East Brunswick this year. One of the other problems is speed, is it not?
Speed, there's no substitute for speed. East Brunswick has some hard-nosed players, but they really don't have much individual speed and certainly not overall team speed. And that's the reason they're going to have to control the ball, Jim, and take it on long drives. Defensively, they're going to have to contain the opposing team.
Right. Well, East Brunswick did win the toss and elected to receive, so they will have that opportunity to control the ball. And what we will be looking for is a long, sustained drive on the part of East Brunswick. Hops will be warming up his arm. somewhat of a passing game when East Brunswick did have success last week. And as Phil mentioned, Brian Merrigan, certainly one of his prime targets. Merrigan, a quality baseball player, has emerged here as a good receiver for East Brunswick, so we'll keep our eye on that. So the Bears will be moving from your right to left, and Stevens will be defending the goal on your left. Back deep for the Bears. It's number 9, Adam Petty, who would be called in to play quarterback if something happened to Hops.
And Jim,
okay, and Sean Corio, number 29, is the other deep back for East Brunswick.
Okay,
Phil.
it's gonna be important for East Brunswick to get off well. I think after last week, what they want to do, just as I said, they want to come down here. They have an opportunity at the ball first. They want to come out and control it and sustain a long drive and hopefully score.
Okay, Chris Lubick, I believe it's pronounced.
And he's a good one, Jim.
Right, he will be kicking off for J.P. Stevens. We are set to begin. And it's a low kickoff, fielded by East Brunswick. And a nice run back. I believe that was number 26. Was that Bettis?
That would be Bettis.
Sure. So East Brunswick will set up shop on its own 42. Excellent field position as we are underway here. East Brunswick and J.P. Stevens at J. Doyle Field.
And you can see, Jim, East Brunswick offensive line appears to be larger than J.P. Stevens' defensive line. J.P. Stevens' defense works with quickness, and the Bears are going to have to work with power.
All right, Petty is split wide to the right. We'll set the backfield here in a moment. Hops keeps it and gets through the line. Nice run. Good for 12 yards and a first down.
I'll tell you, just the power run by Scott Hops and a good way to start off the game. As I said before, Scott Hops, a lot on his mind, a lot they're asking the young man to do to function in the E-bone and to play middle linebacker as well. Good start for him.
First down for East Brunswick into J.P. Stevens territory on the 47-yard line. Corio is one of the deep backs for East Brunswick. First down for the Bears. Hops gives it off this time to number 42, Jason Brenner.
Jason Brenner, the fullback, and Jason picking up good yardage.
Jason Brenner, a 5'11", 183-pound senior.
And I'll tell you, again, just the way you want to get off.
And that was a 7-yard gain, second down for the Bears. A little over 3 yards to go in the first quarter. If you just joined us, there's no score. And good movement, and I guess that line is doing the job as well. Hops gives it off to number 33.
I think that's Russ Leota, number 32.
Okay.
And on the counter there. And Russ picked up the first down.
Right, Russ Leota, a spirited vocal player, getting a good chance to see some action this year. And boy, that was a great counter by East Brunswick.
I'll tell you, good mixture here. 3 different backs have touched the ball thus far.
So it's another first down for the Bears. They're second in this drive, and they're doing exactly what you told them to, Phil. Sustained drive.
Well, that's their game plan, and that's what they got to do, Jim.
Ball's on the 35-yard line. First down for the East Brunswick Bears.
There's some movement on the Bears.
Yeah, there was. The right tackle moved.
And that can be a drive killer, Jim. You know, Bears seem to have everything going, and you come up with a penalty. It's only 5 yards, but believe me, that can hurt you.
So the 5-yard penalty will bring the Bears back to the 40-yard line, make it 1st and 15. As you mentioned, good size on that line for East Brunswick. Give to Brenner, and he struggles for about a yard. That's it. First time that Stevens actually stopped East Brunswick. So we'll give Brenner a yard and make it 2nd and 14. Bears need to get to about the 25-yard line for a first down. Centering the ball is number 67, Adam Goldstein, a veteran who has been there. Choreo in motion.
Counter.
There's that counter again. And a nice run.
And legs are still moving.
That was Choreo. And he got about 6 yards on that play.
And I tell you, nice running by Sean Choreo. Of course, Choreo of the Choreo brothers. Dan graduated last year, and he has a younger brother, Tom, playing with the freshmen and doing very well.
So that game will make it about 3rd and 7 for East Brunswick. Cops getting the plays from the sideline from Coach Marcus Borden.
They've been marching down there. This could be our first pass here. And you got both Merrigan and Petty split left, Jim, so we'll see what happens.
We'll watch. And it looks like Hops is going to fade to the left here. And he's caught, but he gets it off. That's the strength of Scott Hops.
Well, we saw even against Bridgewater, we saw a lot of that. Hops was in the grasp, about to go down and still getting the ball off. Of course, it cost him several times, Jim, when he did that, but other times he was able to come through. And if you're against a weaker team, a quarterback that is strong as Hops is, it may pay off.
And I didn't catch the number for J.P. Stevens, who had Hops in the grass, but in any event, it's a 4th down.
And the Bears are going for it.
Well, the ball's in on the 33-yard line. They are deep in Stevens territory. 8:26 left in the first period, no score. And again, those two are split to the left, Petty and Merrigan. Hops with plenty of time.
Looking for a screen.
And it's not, yes, it's caught.
Okay, it just didn't develop. Hops is looking into the right flat for a screen.
Right.
A defensive player for J.P. Stevens was right in the middle of it and didn't quite go over. And
well, Choreo made the catch, but he was certainly not the primary receiver there. And so Stevens does hold and will take over on about the 33-yard line. So let's call it no gain on that play.
Okay, and Frank Zaro Hawks again coming off a 21-3 loss to Cerebral last week. Last year the record was 3-6, and he believes they can get something going this year.
All right, quarterbacking for J.P. Stevens is number 14. That's Mike Giuliano. Giuliano back to pass, and he is caught already.
I'll tell you.
What a surge by that East Brunswick line, Phil.
I'll tell you, a bevy of players in there.
A bunch. We're going to have to see if we can get those tacklers. Last to come off that pile was number 60 for East Brunswick. That was Pete Borden. But I'm very impressed with the surge by that East Brunswick line.
Well, I'll tell you what, Giuliano is their passing quarterback. He has a strong arm. He's a drop-back passer. When he's in there, you can look for the Hawks to pass.
Okay,
They have two other quarterbacks. When they switch to them, they're going to run.
Brian Mineta and Larry Benson also on that line. Giuliano calling signals. He's back to pass again. And off the helmet of number 34.
I'll tell you,
the intended receiver.
Bill Davis, a sophomore, ball in his hands. He just didn't hold on to it. And I'll tell you what's happened here, Jim. J.P. Stevens has obviously scouted the Bears, and despite the fact that Bridgewater had picked up a lot of yards rushing, they saw that they could pass on the Bears. They felt that they could pass on the Bears. The Bears lost as many as 8 defensive backs from last year, and a lot of teams are going to try to take advantage of that with the new personnel.
Okay, with the incomplete pass, that makes it a 3rd down and about 13. There was a loss of 3 on that sack. So Giuliano will probably be in a passing situation. He drops back. He's being smothered.
That's a screen.
Yes. And who is that? Number 40?
And
almost gets away. Number 40 for Henry Braxton. Not enough, though.
And Joel Serapin coming in from the backside, making a strong tackle. And Serapin, you're going to see, Jim, is one of the more spirited defensive players.
Right.
He's all over the field.
He's big and he's quick. So East Brunswick stops Stevens on that first drive. Ball on the 39-yard line, making a 4th down. And about 5 yards to go, let's call it.
And if you're the Bears, you got to be feeling pretty good.
Right, and Petty is one of the deep backs for East Brunswick. And who else? Can't quite make that out. It's number 86 for East Brunswick.
Merrigan.
Brian. And he has a little bit of a seam here.
He could go all the way.
And he does.
I'll tell you.
Okay.
Brian American with a super punt return.
Nice block in there.
The second touchdown of the year for the Bears, and both of the touchdowns have been scored by Brian American. And Jim, the young man's a story himself. Came out last year for the first time to play football. End up with a fractured collarbone and sat out the entire year. Came back this year, and the rest is history. The young man's done a fine job. Brian American.
Well, we mentioned his name up on top as a primary pass receiver. You see what he does with the ball, and that was a nice run back. Excellent blocking. He was able to get through that first seam, and so East Brunswick jumps on the board with 6:29 left in the first period. 6-0. Bettis will go for the extra point. And it's through. So East Brunswick takes a 7-0 lead.
And Chris Bettis picking up where he left off. 29 extra points last year, Jim, to lead the county in that category, and picks up right there. But again, I want to talk a little bit about Brian American. Of course, his father is, Jim, the coach of a track coach.
Well, he's a track coach. He's also the assistant soccer coach to Lucosa, girls soccer. So
and to see Brian come back, a lot of kids who would have fractured their collarbone the first year coming out, probably the next year would say, hey, let's forget it. Brian American decided to come back out again, and I think he's going to pay big dividends for the Bears.
All right, so East Brunswick did what it needed to, get on the board first, and they will now kick off. Bettis, of course, is the one that will do that for East Brunswick. And let's take a look at who Stevens has back there. Number 34 is Jamil Davis. Number 24, Sylvester Miller. And number 22 is Shaquan Lane.
All young backs.
Bettis is going to kick from the near side hash mark. And it's a low kick, bouncing around. Who wants it? Looks like Lane, and he's wrestled to the ground. Brenner was there, as was number 32. That was Leota. And so J.P. Stevens will have a first down on its own 33, just about where they took over the last time they had the ball.
Giuliani's coming back out, Jim.
Okay.
We're going to refer to him as their passing quarterback. So
okay,
we'll see what happens here.
Mike Giuliano is a 5'10", 190-pound junior. Braxton, one of the deep backs, as is Davis. Give to, no, Giuliano keeps it himself.
Okay, and Giuliano did something. He's not really that much of a runner. That time he tucked it in and picked up
some respectable yards.
Yeah, three and a half yards, Jim.
Okay, so that's we'll give him 4 actually and make it 2nd and 6. Hops calling defensive signals out there as well.
I'll tell you, an awful lot for the young man to do.
We mentioned Mineta, Larry Benson on the line. Let's see if we can pick up a few more of them. Giuliano keeps it himself. He's through. He's through.
And just
Petty giving chase.
A good
great block. Great block there. And he's in. Giuliano takes it himself.
Well,
just like that.
I can swallow my whistle here, Jim. I'm talking about Giuliano's not the running quarterback, and all he does is take off on a 60-something yard touchdown. Great block thrown by a J.P. Stevens player there. Adam Petty was closing in on him, and at the last minute he was blocked out, and Giuliano took it all the way.
Well, that run will make it 63 yards, coming with 5:26, so Stevens answers back immediately in just about 1 minute. And they will try to tie this up now.
And they got it. Lubrecht is just as solid as Petty is in the kicking game.
Well, Stevens is going to call a timeout here, talk things over. Maybe they don't have the right personnel out there.
Could be.
And and you don't want to waste an opportunity, so Stevens will use one of its timeouts. I see an awful lot of that personnel confusion with special teams and that sort of thing.
Well, it's still early in the year, and that's going to happen, Jim. They've got a lot of new players and young players, and a lot of times they're trying to figure out, what they're going to do. But they called this timeout. I think it's a matter of time. They figure running out of time, Jim. You got to believe they're going to kick the extra point rather than go for the 2 at this juncture.
Well, the fact that Giuliano got through the line there, East Brunswick had done a masterful job the first time. And then instead of the passing game, they went to the option, and they found the wound in East Brunswick's defense.
They probably was thinking the same thing I was talking about. Giuliano's the passing quarterback, and he's when he rolls out or drops back, he's probably going to pass. This time he kept it, and sensational touchdown.
All right, Lubick is going to attempt the point after. 2 quick touchdowns here in the first period.
And I believe Lubick kicked a 29-yard field goal against Serval.
High snap, but Lubick,
no good.
And I think that high snap caused the ball to be put down a little, and the timing was off. You could see it, and East Brunswick blocks it. So the Bears still have the lead, 7-6. And they will go on offense now.
Let's see who that was, Jim. Corio coming in to make that block.
Again, I think it was Corio being in the right position because the timing was off on the ball being put down and Lubick trying to kick it. Ball never really got in the air.
And the Bears, I tell you, again, you want to bounce right back from here. You're stung with the big play, and we've said it from years gone by. Not many teams control the ball and drive it down on the Bears. A lot of times when they get beat on the big play, and that certainly was a big play there.
It certainly was. All right, Corio and Petty will be the deep backs for East Brunswick. You have Brenner and Bettis. It's an interesting lineup here. You have basically 3 sets of deep backs for East Brunswick. Let's call it Bettis and Brenner the middle layer. And then number 84, that would be Jason Saunders and Sarapin.
And this is Corio.
Ball fumbled around by Corio, but he might have some room here. Nope, he's snared. And Jason Ascaro takes down Corio just about on the 20-yard line.
25, Jim, no? Let's see. Oh, no, you're right, 20.
And that's where the Bears will begin. 7-6, East Brunswick leading. Both teams have scored.
And I think you're going to see the Bears go back to their staple, the running game here. Stevens hasn't really stopped them.
This is a true wishbone right here.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was, Jim.
Well, it was a wishbone. Everybody went to the right. Hops handed off to the left. Nobody was there. So he eats the ball and takes a loss. And let's call it no gain. So it'll be 2nd and 10 for East Brunswick.
And I don't mean to continue to make excuses for Hops, but I said the young man keeps a lot on his mind, calling signals both offensively and defensively. So every now and then you're going to have a lapse.
Well, you got to wonder whose fault it was, really.
That's true, too.
All right, Hops gives it off. No, he keeps it, and he's through. And I think he's got himself a first down.
And I tell you, one player there, Jim.
It would have been gone. That's the same play that East Brunswick opened up with. Hops going through the right side of that J.P. Stevens line. And so just like that, East Brunswick gets another first down. Ball on the 31-yard line. Brenner really the only deep back. And Hops again, almost the same play. Still moving ahead. And another nice gain, 14, 15 yards.
I'll tell you, and Hops is looking good. Howard Lamb coming up to make the tackle there.
Well, unless J.P. Stevens does something about that, I can see them going on that right side all evening.
And keeping her, you're right.
So that first down will put the ball just over the midfield slash.
Got to make note of those uniforms, Jim. The new look by the Bears, they're pretty sharp.
I'll tell you something else we got to mention. This is the 10th. I didn't realize that 10 years have gone by since J.P. Stevens has beaten East Brunswick.
And we were there the last time.
Certainly have been. Ball given on a nice run here. That's Leota. And East Brunswick picking up huge chunks of yardage.
Russ Leota, 5'7", 155-pound junior, and just kept those legs turning. But you're right, Jim. It's been 10 years since the Hawks have beaten the Bears, and we were there in 1985. George Booth, you remember, a playoff game.
Yes, it was, over at Edison High School Field, Central Jersey Group 4 final. So this is the, 3 first downs in this drive. East Brunswick now down to the J.P. Stevens 42. Hops has it himself again? No.
Brenner.
Still good yardage by East Brunswick. Jason Brenner.
And that's what I'm talking about. We're going to get to learn these backs. I call them baby bulls. You know, they're developing, Jim, and all of them are running good and hard right now.
7 yards for Brenner. So East Brunswick with a 2nd down and 3. Ball on about the 34-yard line. We have 2:47 left to go in the first period. East Brunswick leading 7-6. Hops, a little delay. And that was Brenner with the ball. And I think he has enough for the first down, or it's going to be close.
I'll tell you.
They might have to measure on this. And that they will do. East Brunswick in a good position here now. Ball on about the 31. You have a 3rd down. Even if they don't get the first down, they have 2 downs.
You're right, awfully close, though.
And I can't help but be impressed by that. First of all, the East Brunswick line. We got to get their names in there. They're doing a great job so far.
They're doing a super job.
Pete Borden, number 60. Number 75 is Adam Greenhut. We're blocked. Rob Van Heusen, Larry Benson, Pete Borden, Anthony Alexander. All right, so it's just a little bit short. And now, what do you do in a situation like this?
You have options. That's the nice thing about it, Jim.
American split way wide to the right.
You could fake a dive and try one because you got another play to try it again, or you can go for it, which I'm sure they will.
And, well, Brenner was given the ball, I believe, and I think he
lost.
I think he lost something there. So that will make it 4th down.
And Brenner not happy. And I tell you, that's what you should do. It's one thing to have sportsmanship, but when your linemen are supposed to do the job and they're not doing the job, you let them know.
Sure.
You know, you're going to run it through there if they make the block. And that's what Brenner's saying, hey.
Petty brings in the ball, the play, and it's a 4th and 1. And somehow I believe that Hops is going to be carrying this ball. We'll see. Minute 30 left in the first period. No, ball is given to, boy, this is going to be close. I think it was Corio.
I think he got it.
Boy, if he did, he just got it. They're going to certainly have to measure on this.
I think he got it, Jim.
We'll see. Stevens is pointing the opposite direction. And we will have a measurement. If he got it maybe by half, I'd say a couple inches.
No, mercy.
Well, just missed it, and that's unfortunate. East Brunswick had 2 shots.
Two shots at it, really.
Moving the ball so well, and then to be stopped. That's a big stop by Stevens. So East Brunswick turns the ball over on the 31-yard line, let's call it. And J.P. Stevens now, the Hawks, will take over. A minute 24 left to go in period 1. 7-6 East Brunswick. Giuliano will call signals. Ball given off to number 34. That's Jamil Davis. He gets maybe a couple.
I'll tell you, Scott Hops makes the tackle.
Who else was in there? Mineta?
Let's see. Brian Mineta as well.
Second and 7 for the Hawks. Pitch out to, that was Braxton, and I think he's got himself a first down.
I'll tell you, Serapin almost had him in the backfield there, but the Bears are going to have to contain on that right side. That it's the same side that Giuliano took off for a touchdown.
Right.
You got to be able to contain them, turn them in.
So Braxton advances the ball up to the 44-yard line. That's a first down for J.P. Stevens. Give up the middle. Ball! And East Brunswick looks like they have it. That ball was carried by
Merrigan.
Right.
Merrigan comes up with the fumble recovery. And Brian Merrigan is wherever the ball is, it seems.
It was a good hit there by East Brunswick. I think that was Davis carrying the ball. Nonetheless, East Brunswick now will take over with just 30 seconds left to go in the first quarter. And they have the ball on the J.P. Stevens 48-yard line.
American comes out limping. I hope he's okay.
Hops, back to pass. Petty's open, and he drops it.
Oh, mercy.
Ball was there. Well, Petty had his man beat.
Had his man beat. Scott Hobbs doing a fine job of faking the ball into the line and then putting it up there. And Petty didn't quite hold on to it.
Well, that's the second pass we saw, but actually the first deep pass by the Bears. And that'll have J.P. Stevens thinking. So the ball's brought back to the 48, second down and 10 for East Brunswick.
Petty comes out, Merrigan comes in, and they could be putting it up again.
Well, I think Hops can be so dangerous with an option. We've already shown that he's already shown that he can run the ball well. Hops keeps it, goes to the middle of the line, gets about 2. Now, J.P. Stevens did a very nice job of bottling Hops up that time.
I'll tell you.
And it looks like that's going to be it for the quarter. Ball's on about the 47-yard line. 3rd and 8. And teams will just basically switch sides here. So that will do it. The end of the first quarter, East Brunswick holding a 7-6 lead.
Okay. To Sean Palmer on that last tackle there for the Hawks, and it's been a fairly even match here,
as we kind of expected.
And I'll tell you, if you're Frank Zarrell, close games are fine, but he says he's got to win some of the close games, Jim. Last year, he lost to East Brunswick 16-12, lost to Searleville 25-20, and lost to Amboy 18-9. And his feelings were that, listen, a break here and there, that's 3 games they could have won. So what he's told his team this year is we want to win the close games. If we're in a close game this year, we want to make it different. We want to pull it out and we want to win it. And of course, you take a look at Marcus Borden there, and I'll tell you, Marcus certainly really wants this game. I tell you, had to be smarting after last week against Bridgewater. After all, Marcus is the founder and game director of the Snapple Bowl, where Middlesex plays Union County, and it's a big thrill for one county to beat another. So for him to go to Bridgewater, Somerset County, and take the slacking that he did, he didn't appreciate it and whatnot. And he knows next year what goes around comes around.
Marcus, also the president of the New Jersey High School Football Coaches Association, was very instrumental in getting overtime put into regular season play. All right, so it's a 3rd down and 8 for East Brunswick on the J.P. Stevens 47-yard line. Hops, and he holds on to it, keeps it himself.
And once again, Hops just dragging a few people there.
All right, so I think it's about 3 on the play, makes it about 4th and 5. Puts East Brunswick in a definite punting situation.
And Ron Darnowski coming up with the tackle there.
Bettis will do the kicking for East Brunswick.
We got Jamil Davis back. And
Shaquan Lane.
Shaquan Lane.
Bettis with a lot of time, gets off a nice kick.
Lane grabs it.
Lane, and good coverage by East Brunswick. And the tackle by number 67, I believe that is. That's Adam Goldstein, and Stevens will now start from its own 22-yard line. We're in the 2nd period. 11 minutes left to go. East Brunswick holding a 7-6 lead. Scoring coming in the 1st period when Brian Merrigan ran back a punt, 73 yards to put East Brunswick up 7-0. Stevens came back with quarterback Mike Giuliano running 63 yards to make the score 7-6. Giuliano still at quarterback, Phil. And he has the ball, but a good tackle.
And that's Bettis.
Chris Bettis, linebacker. Does a nice job there.
Did a real nice job, of course. Giuliano seemed like he was 1 step from taking off again, Jim.
So a 2-yard pickup by Giuliano makes it 2nd and 8. And a good crowd now starting to file in. We weren't so sure. Stands were sort of empty as the game began, but people coming in from work and whatnot now, and sizable crowd on hand. Giuliano fakes it, keeps it himself, and there's a fumble. Who has it?
And the Bears recover.
I believe it was number 26, Bettis, who fell on top of that ball. And it was Chris Bettis' momentum, actually.
And Chris Bettis does come up with it. Another big play for Bettis.
2nd turnover for East Brunswick.
And I'll tell you, Jim, I don't remember a game where we've seen quarterbacks keep the ball so much in the game. For both sides, Hops has kept the ball an awful lot. And Giuliano as well, and this time it cost them. And the Bears are in an excellent field.
Just inside the 20-yard line of J.P. Stevens. So East Brunswick will now try to cash in on this excellent opportunity.
And will they go for it with one big play right here? Let's see.
True wishbone. Ball given up in the middle. That's Brenner, I believe. And he doesn't get much.
He picks up about 2, about 1, actually.
I'm with you, Phil. I think East Brunswick has shown it does have the ability to connect on that pass.
Well, the thing is, they've been in tight. They've been running an awful lot. And a quick pop here. But on the other hand, they've been able to move the ball on Stevens as well. So,
well, it's a pickup of 1 yard by Brenner, so it's 2nd and 9. Ball on a 19-yard line.
Okay, Petty split left.
Corio is out there as well. And Hops keeps it himself and stumbles forward for about 4 yards to about the 15. So that'll make it 3rd and 5 for East Brunswick. They need to get to about the 15-yard line. Excuse me, about to the 10 to pick up the 1st.
I can't believe Merrigan's not in the game right now.
And like you said before, Hops is almost exclusively carrying the ball here.
Well, I'm just saying, you think you would want Merrigan in there if nothing else but to spread the team out, defense out.
Hops keeps it himself. They close on him, though. And he does manage to get 3 yards, though.
And he's short of the first hour, Jim.
Right. And that's going to bring it down to about the 12-yard line. Gordon has himself a decision to make here. Bettis is a good field goal kicker.
He's a good field goal kicker, but you see Merrigan going in, and you got to believe they're going to go for it.
Yes, they will. 4th down and 2 yards, maybe 3.
A long 3.
8:19 left to go in the second period. East Brunswick 7-6 over J.P. Stevens. And here we go. Now you've got your 2 wide right. You've got a large near side of this field here open. And Hops keeps it. And will it? Yes, I think he does have enough. I think he has enough for the first down.
We said the Bears are going to have to play power ball, and they've just gutted it out right there. And a really big and important first down there picked up by Scott Hobbs. Again, an awful lot of running by your quarterback.
And it's 1st and goal for the Bears. They started this drive on their own 20 on a fumble recovery by Chris Bettis. And now they're trying to cash in. Goldstein over top of center.
Okay, Stevens in their 52 defense here.
Again, the true wishbone for the Bears. Hops gives it off to Brenner. And is that Brenner, or excuse me, I can't tell. That might be Leota. Leota gets 4 tough yards.
Okay, and I think you're going to see them play power ball and try to drive this home, Jim. They're bigger than the defensive line for Stevens, and they're going to try to just drive it down their throat.
Ball on the 6. They need to score a touchdown here. 2nd and goal. Hops gives it off to Corio.
I'll tell you, Sean Corio.
That was a great play. It was a great call, too.
Well, great call, great ball movement. A good fake by Hops to the first back through. Gave it to the second back through, who was Corio, and Corio went through untouched.
You know, the entire series, Hops was really giving it off to his, either keeping it or giving it to his first back.
Right.
And the fact that he gave it to the second back was enough to fake out Stevens. Good call there.
Excellent call.
Right, East Brunswick goes in from 6 yards out. Sean Corio. I think that's his first touchdown, is it not?
First touchdown, Sean Corio,
Okay.
5'6", 150-pound junior. He the middle brother of the Corio brothers.
Bettis in for the extra point. Bad snap, but
it's good.
Yes, good recovery there by Hops to set it up. So East Brunswick now ahead 14-6, scoring at the 6:50 mark of the second period. Taking advantage of that opportunity.
I tell you, you got to like it. Good mixture of plays there. You're right, Hops carrying most of the times, but handing off to different backs and clearly set Stevens up there with the fake to the first back, handing it off to the second back who went in untouched. And the Bears are looking rather solid right now. And again, if you're Marcus Borden, as you take a good look at him right now, he's got to be feeling pretty good, but also know
it's a long way from being over, is it not?
Sure.
Hey, give that offensive line some nice credit. Petty was in,
some good blocking up there.
Oh, yeah, Goldstein. Pete Borden was doing an excellent job there. And so Bettis will now kick off again. Pretty much mistake-free by East Brunswick.
Yes, and that's a big part of it, really. No turnovers.
And Bettis doesn't waste any time. He sets it up, and he's ready to go. Another low kick, bounding. Picked up by number 82 for Stevens. That's Ron Durnowski.
And Adam Petty makes the tackle.
All right, I think maybe that wasn't Durnowski. That might have been Paul Brown. Nonetheless, Stevens, pretty good field position. Up to the 38-yard line, where they will begin. Again, it is East Brunswick leading 14-6, 2 touchdowns. One by Merrigan in the first period, and Sean Corio scoring just now from 6 yards out. A little bit of a different look by Stevens here. 2 wide receivers. Giuliano flares it out, but it's dropped.
Wow. I'll tell you, Shaquan Lane, again, the second one he's dropped, Jim. He's just a sophomore, but still you got to make those catches.
Well, Stevens was definitely set up there. That had the makings of some big yardage.
If he held on to it.
Giuliano had the right idea. He whipped that ball out there to Lane, but it's up to the sophomore to make the catch. So with the incompletion, it is 2nd and 10 for the Hawks. Giuliano back deep. Here comes the pressure. And the ball thrown a little over. Intended for number 86, Frank Powell.
And Petty putting the pressure on there.
Incomplete makes it 3rd down for J.P. Stevens. Ball resting on the 38-yard line. Good pressure that time by the line. The linebackers were also blitzing.
They're putting
on
pressure
that too.
on, which is preventing Stevens from going for the long ball. You got to believe they're going to put it up deep here.
Giuliano back. Here comes Bettis. Out there.
Ooh, an interception. A nice one by Petty.
Gorgeous interception.
I'll tell you, Adam Petty, over the shoulder, Willie Mays type catch.
Boy, I wish we had a replay on that one. That
I'll
was
tell
beautiful.
you, just a beautiful catch there by Petty. And,
excellent reaction too by him. He was playing pretty much a free safety and read the play and came over and made the catch. It was really a nice play. And so Stevens, it's kind of like a punt if you think about it, but the ball's on the 28-yard line now for East Brunswick. 3rd turnover.
Petty, just a 5'10", 160-pound junior, coming up with a big play.
And you have Petty wide right here. Hops. Gives it to almost a
fell
fumble.
Back on it.
That was Leota.
And they came back with the same play that they scored on a touchdown with, Jim.
And Leota ends up actually getting a couple extra yards on that fumble. About a 6-yard gain on that play. 6 minutes even left in the 2nd quarter. East Brunswick ahead, 14-6, playing excellent football tonight. And as we mentioned, this is not a bad J.P. Stevens team.
Well, veteran line and some very young talent, which they're waiting to develop.
2nd and 4 for the Bears. Hops gives off. Renner was the one that carried on that. Gets about 3 yards, maybe 2 yards. And so we're going to have about a 3rd and 2 for East Brunswick. Bears a little bit more conservative on their side of the field, naturally. Hops keeps it himself, and I believe that he has enough for the 1st down.
Okay, slam down there by number 70.
Yes, he does. That's another 1st down for East Brunswick. Merrigan and Petty are the ones that keep on coming in and out with the plays. Ball on the 39-yard line for the Bears. Hops, he's got room. Whoa. Good long pass intended for Saunders. He overshot his man. And 2nd down now, 2nd and 10 for East Brunswick. 4:18 left to go in the 2nd period.
Okay, and you got both Petty and Merrigan in the lineup here, and you got to believe they're going to come back with the pass again, Jim.
Hops gives it on a counter to Corio up the middle.
Whoa.
And he might get out there.
Whoa. I'll tell you, Sean Corio, just a fine run there by the young fella.
And another good call.
And that counter is a nice play there.
Really is.
Stevens
expecting that pass.
Saw Sean run that play in a scrimmage against West New York and took it for about 60 yards.
Well, this was good for 30 yards and a first down. And East Brunswick now on the 29-yard line of the Hawks, looking for another score. Hops
Brenner
gives it to, I believe Leota was the one that had that maybe.
Let's see.
Yes. He was the second back through. You know, I didn't think that play had anything, but
they're making something.
They are, and that's a sign the offensive line is really playing well.
Good power running as well.
I don't believe East Brunswick's used the timeout. Have they, Phil?
I don't think so.
Okay. We're down to 3:20 in the second period. Another touchdown here would be a great advantage for East Brunswick. They lead 14-6. Hops
takes it.
He's got some room, and he takes it himself.
And they shut it down.
Well, it looked like he had more daylight there at the beginning, but Stevens closed in. So we'll be faced now with a third down and about 7 for East Brunswick.
And sorry not getting these J.P. Stevens players' numbers here, but they're a little difficult from here with the light shining.
Now you would think this is a passing play.
Well, in most situations it is.
Hops straight to, now he fades to the right here.
Ooh, he wanted Petty to release and go, and Petty was looking in, so to speak, Jim.
Right, and that's just a miscommunication on the.
Yeah, I think what has happened, I think Petty probably ran the pattern as it should be run, but he was covered, and I think Hops expected him to release and just put it up there.
All right, Bettis trots out. Excuse me, he trots out to the field, and that tells me that East Brunswick is going to try a field goal, and if it is, it would be from about 43 yards. Well, let's find out what kind of leg Chris has this year.
Well, we know he has a good strong leg. Of course, for this early in the year, this is would be quite a feat.
There's the snap. Good drive, but I don't think it has enough distance.
Off to the left.
Right.
A little early. Maybe before the year's out, he'll be booing him, and Chris is not happy about it.
Good try by East Brunswick. Still, they have a 14-6 lead. Can't be too unhappy with the way things are going. And the key right now is to keep Stevens off the board before this half.
You're right, Jim. 2 minutes and 7 seconds left, and Stevens certainly wants to get on the board there. And the Bears just have to contain him. I think Stevens showed basically we really haven't seen much of a passing game for the Hawks. And when they have passed, it's been pretty much contained.
On the missed field goal, the ball goes back to the 20, and that's where the Hawks will start out. This is Giuliano. He's been in there all evening for Stevens. Pitch out to Braxton. And a nice tackle by Bettis. No, ball stripped.
And
let's see what we got here. I believe East Brunswick's going to have it. Yes, they do. And is it Bettis again?
Well, he stripped it. And he came up with it.
Sure did. Either one of those two.
Either
Bettis or number 22 for East Brunswick. Chris Hurley.
Both of them in there. Bettis, though, right around the ball all evening there. And Marcus Borden talks about Chris Bettis. He's a football player. That's what he simply says.
I thought Braxton had been stopped, but apparently he tried to go for more yards, and that's when he lost the ball. So a good heads-up play by Chris Bettis, and East Brunswick now, with 1:58 left in the second quarter, is on J.P. Stevens' 17-yard line. This is Hops calling signals. Bumps into his own man, but he still has room. Breaks one tackle, another one, and he's in.
Unbelievable.
What do you think of that one?
I tell you, just power running, I tell you. We lamented that Hops has been carrying the ball an awful lot, and maybe that's why he's carrying the ball, Jim. Just good power running there. When you can have a linebacker that's your quarterback, he's looking for people to take shots and give shots back at him.
Well, you talk about a backbreaker right there. That's 16, 17 yards, let's call it. Touchdown run by Scott Hops. Broke at least 2 tackles on that. And if Bettis can convert, it's 21-6. Ball's up, and it looks like it's through. So East Brunswick, 21-6 here with 1:50 left to go in the second period. An excellent quarter for the Bears all the way around, taking advantage of 4 turnovers by J.P. Stevens.
I'll tell you, if you're Frank Zaro and the Hawks, you got to be a little shocked there because things seem to happen rather quickly, and turnovers will kill you every time, Jim.
Absolutely.
And young teams often commit a lot of turnovers.
So East Brunswick will take its time. Overall, a great performance by the offense. Registering 21 points in this first quarter. And Bettis has been a busy player this half.
That's the type of football player he is anyway, Jim. He likes to be where the action is. And again, I think for all the talk about using him offensively, I think Marcus realized that he's just too valuable defensively to split his time offensively.
Davis is deep for Stevens. Giuliano's in there as well. And Davis will field the ball. He'll go right up the middle.
There's the wedge. Boom!
And a great tackle. Is that Serapin? I believe so. Number 99, Joel Serapin.
And Joel Serapin is just the player that likes to hit, Jim. You're going to see anytime there's a big hit out there, most of the times Joel Serapin will be around it. Loves to hit.
6'3", 205, and he's quick.
Tackled ball carriers 8 times behind the line of scrimmage last year for losses.
And he plays a stalwart defensive end. Stevens, whoops, we just lost a bank of lights here. Giuliano, back to pass, being chased, and ball overthrown. Wow. And if you just saw some of your light go out on your television.
It's as much as like blowing a ball, when a ball blows, it just went out, all of them went out just like that, Jim.
Right, one side on the probably about the 20-yard line on the Stevens side. And you might not whole bank of lights went down.
Might not think that makes much of a difference, Jim, but it certainly does. You got to play in those shadows there.
And you can see
picking up the ball.
Well, if you missed the lunar eclipse last night, you got one now. And the officials are going to call timeout for a moment to talk this over, see what can be done.
About the lighting.
Yeah. They're going to probably talk to the officials and see what happens here.
And they're talking to Marcus. Marcus is like, what do you want me to do? I'm fine. Well, let's go ahead and play.
I think what you'd have to do is you got to get agreement from both coaches to go ahead and play.
Well, Frank Zaro, I tell you this, you know, his team's down, and there's only a minute 39 left.
All right. Okay, I see the official waving his arms. Looks like Zaro does not want to continue.
Until the lights are fixed.
And so we have an official timeout here while we check into the situation. We don't know how long this is going to last.
I'll tell you, and if you're Frank Zaro, you know, you might say, you know, what's the big deal? But his team is down right now, and they have the ball. They don't want to be at disadvantage, Jim, without having those lights there.
All right, both teams are going to go to their sides of the field, so that's probably going to give us an opportunity to take a short break here. And as soon as we're ready to resume action, we'll be back. Okay, we are back, and as you can see, the light has been restored. And so we'll just pick it up right now. JP Stevens, second down. 10 yards to go on that incomplete pass play. A minute 39 left to go in the second period. We had a delay of about 10 minutes, would you say, Phil?
About 10.
Giuliano back to pass again. Serapin trying to get down. And that ball really didn't have a chance. Good pass coverage by East Brunswick there. I think Merrigan was deep.
Merrigan trying to pick up an interception as well, but Giuliani put some air underneath that ball, but no receiver in sight.
Merrigan, as you noted before, Phil, with a little bit of a limp.
Yes, and still limping, still playing.
He and Petty are the deep backs, playing about 15 yards off the ball. So 3rd and 10 here, and you know, this is an interesting situation for East Brunswick. They have all 3 timeouts left. And if they can stop Stevens here, Giuliano whips it and almost caught off the fingertips of number 82, Darnowski.
Ron Darnowski almost able to pull it in, but
now you got to imagine, Phil, East Brunswick is going to come with a rush here, try to block this. Ball's on the 30-yard line. It's 4th down. Stevens will punt.
They may not come and try to block it, Jim. They got the timeouts. They may just try to get possession of the ball and use the timeouts to work the clock to move down the field.
All right, we'll see what happens here. Petty and believe that is Merrigan. Boy, they're getting to be a pair now. They're the deep backs for East Brunswick.
They sound like a law firm, Merrigan and Petty.
Lubick takes his time, gets it off, high kick. It's going to be fielded by Merrigan. And he looks to run to the near side here, but he's caught.
He's sandwiched.
And about 10 seconds go off the clock. And East Brunswick will have about a minute 18 on their, let's call it 38-yard line. All 3 timeouts left.
Khalif Johnson coming in to make that tackle for the Hawks.
They're ahead 21-6. Merrigan scoring on a punt return the first period. Then you had Corio from 6 yards out. Hops from 17 yards out.
And I tell you, Merrigan's limp is getting a lot more noticeable, Jim, as he spreads out left.
Well, let's see if East Brunswick is conservative. There's that counter. Sean Corio.
And that's what we're going to call it, the Corio counter. He runs it very well.
Gets about 6 yards on the play. And I think Borden's not really going to be looking to do anything fancy here.
I think you're wrong, Jim. I think he's certainly.
Okay.
I know Marcus Borden. He certainly is not going to just lie out. He's going for another score here.
All right. Well, then why let the clock run?
Ooh. And I tell you,
a late hit there, I thought.
And the Hawks blowing in there, led by number 70, and
well, with that huge loss now,
that's Deshaun Palmer.
3rd and 13. No timeout being called here, and
I'm surprised.
I imagine now, well, East Brunswick might as well not even run a play.
I'm surprised to tell you.
Under 10 seconds now. Hops, quick give off to Brenner. Holds on to the ball and stumbles forward to the 40. And that's going to do it. So East Brunswick electing not to go for anything fancy, but still with a very comfortable 21-6 halftime lead. A really excellent quarter for East Brunswick. Good play calling, good selections by Marcus Borden and his staff.
Well, you got to like their intensity, Jim. Again, we were wondering what kind of team would come out here after the defeat against Bridgewater, and these guys have come to play today, and both offensively and defensively. And if you're an East Brunswick fan, you certainly got to be pleased.
Right. I don't think we're no mystery that Stevens is not of the caliber of Bridgewater Raritan, but nonetheless a good, solid performance. No turnovers by East Brunswick, and then East Brunswick taking advantage of 4 turnovers. 21-6 at halftime. We're going to be back with the second half in just a moment. All right, we are back here at the conclusion of halftime. East Brunswick leading J.P. Stevens 21-6. You just saw a rather sterling performance by the 141-member East Brunswick band. Outstanding performance, Phil.
Well, Jim,
we sat here listening to it.
Right, the fact in our 13 years, we've watched them grow little by little, and they've really developed into a very fine, one of the finer bands in Middlesex County.
And I think that's the point. You know, there's. I always like to judge bands by the performance of the Piscataway Chief Band. They are clearly really one of the tops in the state of New Jersey.
Sure.
And I saw some a little exhibition tonight that's starting to approach that. So
well, it's staring. The fact when you have the people in the stands sitting, truly listening and watching and whatnot, and then clapping, it tells you your band has arrived.
Right. So our congratulations to the East Brunswick Bear Band. And now we turn our attention back to football. East Brunswick 21-6. We're about to begin the second half. East Brunswick won the toss and received to open up the game, and now they will kick off. And Chris Bettis will be kicking off what seems to be for about the 20th time.
I'll tell you though, if you're Frank Zarro and the Hawks, you want to really get something going here. If you're going to stand any chance here, it's a new half and it's like a new game, and you got to come out and hopefully take it right to the Bears.
All right, we're set to begin. Bettis doesn't waste any time. And here we go. And this one is another stub line drive kick. Bounces off, and J.P. Stevens' player, Giuliano, has it. And he finds another side.
Mercy.
And it's going to be up to American here. And he does just enough to trip him up.
I'll tell you.
I'm sorry, that was Bettis that was playing deep back.
Okay,
kicker.
Giuliano pointing out that block this guy and I can take it all the way.
Well, he has been the offense for J.P. Stevens tonight.
And I tell you, just a fumble on the kickoff there, and as it often happens, you get out of your lanes, and the next thing you know, someone's on their way with a big one.
All right, Stevens dearly needs to get on the board here. It's 21-6. Underway in the second half. Giuliano keeps it. Don't know whether that was a busted play or not.
That's a play, Jim.
Okay. Well, it's kind of like what Scott Hops did for East Brunswick.
And Petty and Hurley
right
on the tackle there. I'll tell you, Giuliano, a fine-looking quarterback here, 5'10", 180-pound junior, and they told us he was not the runner. They told us he was just the passer, and he's put on a running exhibition today.
Well, they obviously thought you were from East Brunswick because he's doing anything but throwing successfully anyway. First down for Stevens. Ball's resting on about the 25-yard line, 23 call it. Giuliano gives it right up the middle again.
Okay, and number 22, that's Shaquan Lane.
Good yardage there for Stevens. And going right to the middle of East Brunswick's line here.
And every time we mention, Lane is a sophomore, but every time we mention, we're talking about junior or sophomore. So a lot of these kids will be back for J.B. Stevens.
About a 4-yard gain for Lane. 2nd and 6. Ball deep in East Brunswick territory as Stevens starts the second half drive. Giuliano met at the line of scrimmage this time.
A host of tacklers
there. Led by number 62, Brian Mineta.
Number 60,
Borden,
99,
that was Borden. Serapin.
And 63.
So no gain, if anything. About 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, perhaps.
Greg Jimenez also went on the tackle.
Giuliano pitches quickly. And I believe that's enough for a first down.
It's Braxton, I believe.
Davis,
Jamil Davis. And that's another sophomore, Jim. That's what I'm talking about. These are young fellows here.
All right, right, this is the clearest, deepest penetration for J.P. Stevens. They got their other touchdown when Giuliano ran 63 yards.
Exactly what Frank Zara wanted him to do coming out of the half here. And they're taking it to the Bears right now. Ball's on the 11-yard line.
And East Brunswick now is going to have to tighten up. Trips wide to the right for Stevens. Haven't seen this before. Giuliano being chased by Serapin, and
he gets
finds.
Touchdown.
That's a touchdown, yeah. Davis is the one that was the
Jamil
reception.
Davis, the sophomore, comes up with the touchdown.
Boy,
I tell you, Serapin had Giuliano
there, huh?
in his grasp there, and Giuliano somehow managed to get the pass off anyway.
Yep.
And again, as I said, Frank Zara, what you want to do is come out, pretend this is a whole new game, come out the second half and take it right down the field, and that's exactly what they did, Jim. So they are in this game.
And that makes the score 21-12. Stevens is going to go for 2 here. Touchdown coming with 9:16 left to go in the second period. All right. This is Giuliano looking in the corner, but its ball is tipped away.
I'll tell you, Bettis comes putting his hands up and knocked that ball away, and the guy was open.
So that makes the score 21-12, a 9-point margin for East Brunswick, and a little surprising with the efficiency of J.P. Stevens' offense coming down the field like that. And the touchdown scoring play coming when Giuliano connected with Davis from 11 yards out.
Exactly what the Hawks want to do and exactly what the Bears didn't want to happen. And you look at Marcus Borden talking to his troops here, tell them that we still got a lot of game to play yet, fellas. Let's get our heads into the game.
A lot of game. Well, that's really the first time the defense is, other than that long touchdown run by Giuliano, first time that East Brunswick defense has given up any sustained yardage. So they will attempt to come back. Corio and Petty now, the deep backs for East Brunswick. Ball punched down there, picked up by Sean Corio, right up the pipe. And he has himself a little room. Cuts to the outside.
And he's still on his feet.
Tripped up and goes all the way to the 45-yard line.
I'll tell you.
Nice run back.
Sean Corio once again doing a fine job there, picking up good yardage.
Well, if East Brunswick wanted a little bit of momentum to grab back, they did there on that play.
Well, if you're the Hawks here, what you want to do is certainly stop the Bears, hopefully 4 downs and out, but certainly don't let them get into a sustained drive. If you can stop them here, you got momentum on your side offensively, and you truly can get back into the game.
Yeah, a little bit of a breeze kicking up here. I don't know if it's going to affect any of the passing game, but we'll watch. East Brunswick in its traditional E-bone. Hops calling signals. Keeps the ball, goes to the outside, pitches now. And we got a flag.
Might be a late hit.
Could be, we'll see.
All that happening to the short side of the field. Hops rolling left.
Personal foul against J.P. Stevens. That's the call. Leota was the recipient of that pitch by Hops.
That late pitch on the short side there.
Right. And I don't know if it was a late hit outside,
Probably
as
a
you say.
out of bounds there, and it's going to cost them 15 yards.
Yes, it will, and that'll advance the ball down to about the 26-yard line, where East Brunswick will have a first down. So this is not what Stevens wanted to have happen. And you will see the official call that personal foul. So East Brunswick first down on the 26-yard line of J.P. Stevens. You know, Hops had some open receivers in the first half. He just was not connecting. I'd like to see him. That's Leota surging ahead with a rush by the line.
Rush Leota, the Brooklyn connection there on nice dive there. Showing good power.
4 yards, 4-yard pickup, I would say. So it'll be 2nd and 6 for East Brunswick. 8:30 left to go in the third period. East Brunswick ahead 21-12. East Brunswick scoring in the first half on Merrigan's punt return and touchdowns by Scott Hops, the quarterback, and by Sean Corio. This is Hops. Gives it to the second coming out. And another good surge there, Phil.
I'll tell you, I call them baby bulls, and
well, they are getting the job done.
they're sticking their nose in there.
That was Sean Corio or Jason Brenner, perhaps. Give him another 3 yards. I think it's third and 4.
Corio on the carry there.
20 from the 19-yard line. It'll bring up a 3rd and 4 for the Bears.
You want to bet that Hops keeps it coming around the right side?
Okay, so let's take a look. Woo.
Wow,
A loose
fumble.
ball there.
Oh,
That's what we have, a fumble recovered by number 22, Shaquan Lane. So East Brunswick, its first turnover of the evening.
first turnover in an inopportune time there.
Right.
Not that there is an opportune time anytime, Jim, but clearly on a drive there inside the 15-yard line, and unfortunately they turn it over.
And now it's up to the defense to do the job.
Well, what we want to see if the Hawks can sustain the offensive momentum that they had before.
Giuliano gives it to Lane, but he's going to be racked up.
And if you ever see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 East Brunswick tacklers there.
They were there. Serapin, I think, was the first one to wrap him up. So it looks to be like a loss of about 3 yards. So it'll be 2nd and 13.
Very dangerous territory to attempt to pass from, Jim.
It really is. Another counter met by East Brunswick. Wow.
And about 7 or 8 players in on the tackle there.
That's about another loss here. And they're going to bring it back. Still, that was a loss on the play of about a yard.
And Pete Borden leading the charge there, but a host of tacklers for the
Hey,
Bears.
if ever a time to come up with a good defensive stand, this is it.
That's for sure.
Stop him here, and this will force J.P. Stevens to punt deep in his own territory. So this is a very big play in this game. All right, definitely a passing situation for Stevens. Giuliano's back to pass, throwing long, and cannot be reached by Lane. He was out there, but so was Merrigan and Petty.
Doing a good job.
And that is going to force Stevens to punt, and East Brunswick should get the ball in good field position.
Very good field position.
Nice job by the defense there.
Merrigan and Petty doing a nice job again defensively, and they'll both await this punt.
East Brunswick does not want to make any mistakes here. They want to field the ball cleanly. Is that Lubick?
That's Lubick. You know he's going to kick a good one, and
Okay.
might make for a good return.
Good snap. Gets it off. It's a line drive. Petty fields it, though, and he's going to get some good yards all the way down to about the 10-yard line.
I'll tell you.
That was a great catch by Adam Petty and a great run.
The thing about it is Lubick kicked it sort of on a line drive, didn't give his guys time enough to get down there, and Petty took it on the run. And as you say, Jim.
So the ball rests on the 10-yard line. It's going to be 1st and goal. I believe it's going to be 1st and goal, depending on where they mark that.
It's right inside
Yeah,
the 10.
it's right inside the 10,
Right.
so it's 1st and goal from the 10-yard line. Okay, let's see if the Bears can punch it in now. Bettis is now back at fullback, Phil. He's got the ball.
Bettis gets it.
Yes. And he gets 5 big yards there.
And Bettis is still on the ground, and his legs are still moving.
I think he wants to play that position. He was running with determination. Second down for the East Brunswick Bears. They're leading 21-12 over JP Stevens. About 5 minutes and 10 seconds left to go in the third period. This has been a good one. Bettis again at fullback. Hops keeps it.
And he swarmed under.
We got a flag, though. I haven't seen too many flags tonight. Legal procedure on East Brunswick. I wonder if Stevens is going to bring him back. They probably would refuse this penalty since there was no gain.
I'll tell you, number 88 for Stevens, Jerron Crawford, though, blew in there to nail Hops.
Legal procedure is the call, and they take him back. That's interesting.
Well, they stopped him, but the fact is the Bears have been moving. And
we'll see what happens here. I'm not sure I would agree with that call. All right, Merrigan and Petty. Again, we call those names synonymously. Hops, he's got it. He cuts inside, and he back to about the 5. So he gets those yards back.
Well, you got to wonder who's hitting who when Hops plows in there, though. You got the small defensive backs coming up, and Hops is sort of just nailing them.
And the official puts the ball on the 5-yard line, so East Brunswick here with 2 shots.
And we have an official timeout for equipment.
Right. Boy, the quarterback Hops has sure been a workhorse tonight, hasn't he?
He's a workhorse. The thing about Scott Hops is not only is he a good athlete, good student, he's just a nice kid too. Well, you know, a young mannerly young man.
Okay. All right. Bettis, the lone deep back. Corio split wide, as is Petty and Merrigan. Hops has some room.
Ooh.
Oh, whoa, he was looking to pitch. Nobody was there.
Nobody was there now.
All right, now I think that with a 4th down and 5, you would look for a field goal attempt here, maybe.
I think you're right, Jim.
And here we go. So Bettis will stay on. Try the field goal. He's going to have an angle, it looks like. If, in fact, they are trying the field goal. I'm not so sure they are.
It's 21-12.
And they're going to go for it. Let's see. Okay. It is a field goal attempt. Ball is going to be snapped from the 6. And we're looking at about the 13-yard line. So this would be a 23-yard attempt. Certainly well within his range. Good snap. Ball's up, and it is through. So a 23-yard field goal by Chris Bettis. It's his first on the season, and East Brunswick extends its lead to 24-12.
And the Hawks would need 2 touchdowns to get back in this.
Well, they certainly wanted to come out of that with points. They lost the ball on the fumble, but the defense held. And then that nice run back by Adam Petty to get it down to the 10-yard line. They couldn't get the touchdown, but they did get the field goal, and they come up with points, and that's most important.
Well, the thing about it is the Bears have shown a little bit of everything. I mean, well balanced here. Number of backs are touching the ball, good running by all. The offensive line is doing a very good job, and then you got your special teams doing a good job.
Well, tell you what, I don't see him on the field, but I was going to say kick the ball away from Mike Giuliano, but he's not there.
Well, he's put in a lot of time, and as I said, he's your quarterback. You don't want to wear him out.
I think that's Davis deep for JP Stevens, number 34. Check, that is not Davis. That's number 24. That would be Sylvester Miller. Well, there's Giuliano. Sorry. I don't know if he was camouflaged or what, but he caught the ball on his knee, so that's where it's going to be, on the 26, 27-yard line. You know, you would think they would kick it away from him. He has been the offense for Stevens.
He's been the
tonight.
offense. Again, not meant to be a threat, but obviously just a talented young football player. And we've talked about his arm and so forth, Jim. You got to believe that the running game hasn't developed too well for them, that perhaps they're going to show that arm.
All right, Giuliano. Back to pass. Ball's tipped.
I'll tell you.
And I think it might have been intercepted. Yes, it was.
Oh, wow.
And it was, who was that?
I didn't pick it up either, Jim.
I believe it was Hops that was the one that grabbed it. The ball was tipped in the air by East Brunswick lineman, and Hops dove for it and came up with it. So that is the 5th turnover for Stevens tonight. And East Brunswick now will...
I think Larry Benson got a hand on that.
Okay. Ball on 31 for East Brunswick. Hops at quarterback, as he has all evening. There's a counter to Corio. Breaks one tackle, then he's wrestled to the ground.
Okay. And there's a flag. A flag coming in late there.
And I'll tell you why. It was a J.P. Stevens guy. He put a knee right into Corio right at the end of that play.
Okay.
And the official caught it.
Personal foul.
Stevens perhaps a little frustrated now.
Unsportsmanlike.
That's what the call will be. So, the Hawks now bothered by some personal foul penalties in the second half. And that'll advance the ball down to the 15-yard line. So it's an automatic first down. East Brunswick once again knocking on the door. There's 2:30 left to go in the third quarter with the score 24-12 in favor of the Bears, and they're looking for more. Hops, he gives it off, and a good surge ahead. Leota, the ball carrier. I'm sorry, that was Brenner. We really can't tell until they get off the pile.
Pretty much very similar, the backs.
Second and 8. Three deep backs for East Brunswick.
Option pass. And he's wide open.
Beautiful.
Wow.
That had me fooled.
Petty, the second string quarterback there. Hops pitches back to Petty.
And guess who the pair was that connected on that?
Petty and American.
Petty and American.
That law firm again.
Wow. The law firm ought to be illegal. Boy, they have been having quite a night, that pair. I'll tell you, it was a great play.
And as we said, Adam Petty is the second string quarterback, and he just put up a nice pass there.
So that touchdown covering about 13 yards. Coming at 1 minute 19 left to go. Phil, I have to admit, I was fooled on that one.
I think
my glasses were going one way, and Bettis, and no, it's off to the left, so he misses. So the point after is not good, and the score is 30-12 East Brunswick.
And the Bears seem to really have things in hand right now, Jim. I tell you, I mentioned Adam Petty being the second string quarterback, but a young man that we were looking forward to seeing this year, young sophomore Ryan Costantino, had actually moved away, not moved away, had attended the Hun School, decided he wanted to come back to East Brunswick, and in a scrimmage fractured his collarbone.
Okay.
And I understand he's going to be out for about 8 weeks, but he's about 6'2", 190-something pounds.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
And he's going to be a good one, I'm telling you. So I know Marcus is waiting till Ryan gets his chance to come back.
Well, we wish Ryan well.
We certainly do. We wish a couple Ryans well. Another quarterback, 8th grader Ryan Burke, a really super kid, also broke his arm in a game against Perth Amboy Thursday night, and we certainly wish Ryan Burke well as well. Super kid.
Okay. Well, again, Bettis will kick off for East Brunswick. He's certainly been involved in the kicking game tonight. And this one is deep. They're finally kicking it away from Giuliano. Fielded by, let's see, that's Braxton.
Ooh.
He's loose. Excuse me, that was Lane.
And who else but Scott Hops brings him down.
Right. He hasn't been off the field.
I'll tell you, he's put in a yeoman's job today.
Right, as has the entire team. A real nice job by the offensive and defensive lines. And now Stevens down 30-12. That's quite a hole to dig out of, especially with only 1:12 left to go in the third quarter. They're going to have to strike quick. Giuliano gives it off up the middle. That was Davis on the carry. They tried to strip the ball out of his hands.
That was Davis on the carry and Hops on the tackle.
So Davis gets about 4 to 5 yards. 5, let's call it, 2nd and 5. Quarterback sneak by Giuliano. Hops meets him, then Serapin.
Well, Giuliano has been the best ball carrier for the Hawks tonight, but they got to come up with something else other than that, Jim.
Well, I think that might be the last play of the quarter. We're down to under 10 seconds. No, they're not going to get this play off. They're going to let the clock go down.
This is that a young lady run across the field from the other side. I don't. The game's still going on, you know.
Well, what was happening was she was getting the kicking tee. They had forgot to take it off the field. And that's the quarter. So with just 12 minutes left to go in this game, East Brunswick out to a comfortable 30-12 lead.
And
a little surprising, maybe, by all the scoring.
Very surprising, really, that the Bears have exploded the way that they have, Jim.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, as look at Marcus Borden and his troops, we have some other coaches up here. Brett Charleston, a former East Brunswick Bear star, is now the coach for the Bears.
He's a new addition.
And Keith Lane is also up here, and I want to congratulate him and the freshman team who beat J.P. Stevens today 34-0. So we got some baby Bears
Cubs
coming up for the future.
Okay. Great. Well, another fall season. As we mentioned, this is the 13th year that Channel 8 has been bringing to you East Brunswick High School athletics, and we're looking forward to another great year.
And I'll tell you, Frank Zarro on the other side there, he must really love football, Jim. Here's a guy who spent 27 years in the system. This is his 4th year as a coach of J.P. Stevens. Spent 23 years, there he is, 23 years as an assistant coach under Simonello,
yeah, I know you're going to ask me, and I'm drawing a blank.
The great coach there. And this guy is a guy that's come back from...
Joe Gutowski.
Gutowski was there, but after that, there was Tony
Simonelli.
Simonelli, right.
Right, okay. So he's been under both of them, so he knows what winning is all about.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, here's Giuliano calling for Stevens. And he's going to go out. He's going to try to pass, but Serapin's going to catch him. No, he gets it off.
Oh, a nice catch.
And yes, they're going to say it was a catch.
And I'll tell you, a lot of action on the part of Giuliano, number 86, coming up with the catch there, and he is
how did he get away from
Frank
Serapin?
Powell. And I think you're going to see an awful lot of passing right now, Jim.
All right, so a first down for Stevens on the East Brunswick 48. I would think, Phil, that they might want to hurry up a little on this. If they have something like a hurry-up offense,
Yeah,
I would utilize it.
They seem to be taking their time, however.
Giuliano drops back, throws.
And he's got a man open.
Right.
And that's the same young fellow there.
Was it Powell?
Frank Powell once again.
Okay, good grab. Wrestled down by Scorio.
And Powell is a 5'8", 150-pound junior.
Another first down for Stevens.
And you know they're going to be passed. Well,
okay.
you suspect they're going to be passing here. I expect our linebackers to be blown in, but they may count with a quick hit.
Well, that's what East Brunswick would like to do, is to apply some pressure on Giuliano.
Yeah.
Gives it off, though.
They want to keep the Bears' defense honest, Jim. They had to run that in order to let them know that they might run. Otherwise, the Bears, the linebackers would just be blown in there. And you can expect them to do this on this next play here.
Davis carried. Say maybe a yard gain, make it a 2nd and 9. Meanwhile, the clock continues to run. We're down to 10 minutes and 30 seconds left to go in the fourth quarter. East Brunswick ahead comfortably 30-12. Stevens needing to score and needing to score quick. That's Giuliano. This time, I believe, Serapin grabs him and
Serapin trips him up.
Gets him down to the ground.
Second time Serapin has come up and tripped him up when Giuliano has just needed one step.
Borden getting up a little slow. He's been playing excellent football in the middle of that East Brunswick line tonight. It's one thing we can say. This has been a good game by a cast of East Brunswick linemen that have good experience.
That's
Adam
right.
Greenhut is one. We mentioned Serapin, Pete Borden, Goldstein. Giuliano tries to squeeze through. He's an excellent runner.
He is.
He really utilizes his speed and strength well.
And Larry Benson in on the tackle there.
Greg Jimenez has been playing well tonight. Okay, we have a fourth down now and 3 yards to go for J.P. Stevens. Obviously, they need to convert here. They won't have any chance. And they need to get the ball to about to the 27-yard line. The ball's on the 30. Giuliano, looks to pass. Serapin's got him.
And rips him down.
And he throws it away. It doesn't make any difference. It was a fourth
ground,
down.
and I don't know why the official would throw that flag there.
Really, you didn't need to do it. Just should have called it down.
He's called intentional grounding. I mean, the young fellow was down anyway. But
well, East Brunswick will refuse it, I imagine.
Decline.
Okay, so East Brunswick does the job. Defense.
First down.
And holds and will take over on the 30-yard line.
And you got Adam Petty at quarterback now, I believe. And
no, that's Hops is out there.
Okay, Hops is, you're right.
Yeah. It would be good to see Adam Petty at quarterback.
Well, they had to develop a backup, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Certainly Hops has played enough
Hops
tonight.
has played a well of a game.
Offensively and defensively.
Both sides of the ball.
All right. East Brunswick will be taking its sweet time. 8:38 left to go in the game. Give off to Brenner. No, I'm sorry, that was Hops. He kept it. And so he'll lose some yards on that.
Well, you got practically the whole Edison team here, Jim. The Bears will play Edison next, and they're sitting in the stands taking this in. And of course, they got their first win.
Over North Brunswick
last week.
21-17, I believe.
Right. So.
And that is a team definitely looking to turn it around. They were 0-9 last year.
Should be interesting.
And East Brunswick, I believe, pasted them 56-0 last year. So they're looking for revenge.
There's a counter.
That's that counter. Leota struggles forward. Gets maybe about 3 yards.
And I'll tell you, number 38 coming up for the Hawks there, and that's Vito Margolis.
I want to make sure I'm right on those scores from last year. $55-7. Excuse me. I think it was 55-7.
That's enough to remember. Second man through. I believe that's Corio.
Okay.
And the Bears are going to have to punt, Jim.
Okay. And that game, by the way, will be at Edison next Friday night, 7 p.m. You know what's really interesting about the Stevens series? At one time, J.P. Stevens was winning this series 13-5. East Brunswick is now leading at 15-13.
Amazing.
And looking pretty much like they're going to be able to extend this to 11 in a row. I want to look ahead. The next home game for East Brunswick will be October 12th against Saraville, a 1 p.m. contest that will be homecoming.
And we'll be there.
Indeed.
I'll tell you, and for the Hawks, they're looking at Old Bridge next. Ooh.
A couple of surprises in the first week of GMC play, Phil, you have to admit. Piscataway being
beaten by Woodbridge, right?
It was maybe upset, and then Old Bridge going down to Holy Cross.
Ooh, mercy.
Getting blasted. I don't know what that says for South Jersey football.
Now, Holy Cross is a good team, and they always come with a good team.
Okay. All right, so Stevens will set up shop here on their own 21-yard line, needing points. They're spread out now. And there's Giuliano again. Gets himself some good yards.
And Corio. Corio makes the tackle.
East Brunswick with its first team defense in. First down for J.P. Stevens. Under 6 minutes to go. That's Giuliano. He's going to pass it.
And he's open.
Connects.
That's Powell again.
And that's been his one and only receiver,
I'll tell you,
well,
they look like they found something. For the future anyway. Giuliano and Powell. Seem like a nice connection there.
Both juniors.
Both juniors. And again, we talked about there are a lot of sophomores and juniors on this team here, Jim.
Certainly a team to be reckoned with in the future. Not only is a junior-oriented team going to get better next year, they're going to get better this year. So 3 quick first downs for J.P. Stevens. This is Giuliano.
Out in the flat here.
I think they're going to catch.
Motion, I think.
No, I think what they're going to have is linemen downfield. They released a little too soon.
Holding.
Check. It's a hold. Well, there was 2 flags, so let's see if we have 2 different penalties. First one is a hold. Holding and illegal man downfield.
Right.
Okay.
Both against the Hawks.
Right. You take the illegal man downfield because it's a loss of down.
There you go.
There you see the official discussing things with captain, quarterback, defensive captain, Scott Hops. And I think he could be the mascot if he wanted to.
He's certainly done a fine job all the way around.
Now Hops is talking it over with Borden here. And they say they will take the downfield penalty. No, they will not. They'll accept the holding penalty. Perhaps, Phil, maybe it isn't an automatic loss of down in high school, because you would think that they would take that penalty. But they're going to take the holding penalty, so that's going to knock them back 15 yards. 10 yards, I'm sorry. Well, I'm not going to try to figure it out.
At this point, it doesn't really make a whole lot of difference.
Really?
We've got 5 minutes, 7 seconds left, and the Bears are in real good shape.
Here comes a blitz. And that ball was bumped. And somehow, I believe Powell came down with it.
Powell came up with it again.
That was a great catch.
That ball was up there to be intercepted. I think the defender for the Bears, feet sort of slid out from under him, but clearly the ball was up there to be intercepted.
Wow, and that's a first down for Stevens. Boy, Frank Powell has really been
like
impressive.
I said, we'll remember that connection for the future, Giuliano and Powell.
Well, I just got to keep somebody on him. Giuliano.
Oh,
and almost
I'll tell you,
picked off by Petty.
I'll tell you, Petty moving to his right, moving away from it, and a bullet thrown in there.
Right, he should have had that as a
Just
matter of fact.
not able to hold on to it.
Right in the chest.
Got to his chest, that's the point.
Yeah. Well, it's one of the few things that Adam Petty hasn't done right tonight. Believe me, he's had a great game.
He's had a good game, a real good game.
Oh, yeah.
And Jim, you young fellows got to remember, both offensively and defensively, the thing is to catch the ball with your hands. Once you let it get into your body, things like that can happen.
Okay.
Tough play for him to make, however.
Advice coming from a veteran receiver and defender. 2nd down and 10. Ball handed off.
And he's still up.
Right, gets his yards and he stays in bounds, I believe. All right, somebody's down for East Brunswick. I believe that's Borden. Looks like he's cramping up.
And we have Hostler hustling out on the field there. And let's see. You can pick it up, Jim?
Yeah, it's Pete Borden.
Pete Borden?
Yeah.
And Pete's played a fine game.
Yeah, he has. Well, you know, he got bumped, I'd say about 3 or 4 minutes before that. Saw him limp off the field. I'm just wondering if this may be a recurrence of an ankle injury.
And Pete Borden, as you take a look at him, a 6'3", 245-pound senior, and really has been one of the mainstays on the line there, Jim.
Well, I don't think there's any question. That was probably one of the real positives for East Brunswick coming into this season. The experience of that offensive line featuring Pete Borden and Adam Goldstein.
And he's up.
He is
Good
up
sign.
and he's running off. And a lot of these guys are playing both ways for the Bears.
And the fans give him a hand.
Alexander's been playing a lot. We talked about Green Hut, Larry Benson, Brian Manetta. Hurley's played a quiet but effective game too.
Who's that?
Number 22 for East Brunswick.
Hurley.
Chris Hurley.
Just a sophomore too.
Yeah.
Just a sophomore. So.
Well, yeah, he was in, this is his first game started. He didn't start the last game.
No.
And this is his first game, and I've been impressed. Coming is East Brunswick, and somehow Giuliano gets away, throws it deep and long.
I'll tell you.
Boy, I'll tell you what, he's got quite an arm.
He's got quite an arm, and he's got some quick feet as well.
Yeah. And that's going to make it 4th down now for Stevens and 5. 3:39 left to go in the game. East Brunswick 30-12, winning comfortably. Looks like they've got this one in the bag. First win on this campaign. A couple of substitutions now for East Brunswick.
Okay, last dash effort here.
Yep.
And we know he's going to put it up.
Quarterback sneak, and woo!
That's why I'm not a coach, Jim.
Yeah, that's a daring play.
When you think he's going to put it up there, he takes it down and surprises everybody.
And he would have brought it in if it wasn't for Merrigan making that tackle.
And think about it, a talent like Giuliano, who has put on a fine performance tonight, is the type of player who can do that. So they get another first down.
And the ball is down to the 15-yard line. Giuliano slips through again. Boy, he's been elusive.
You just got to wonder how much you can ask him to do. And he's a ball player. I mean, not only does he take it down there and get hit, pick himself up, but sort of gives the tackler a pat on the back as well, saying good tackle.
And that tackler was Greg Jimenez, who has been in there for pretty much the entire game.
We haven't called his name. Jimenez has been on a lot more plays than we've called his name, Jim.
Yeah. Whoa!
Bat it back.
That's funny.
Bat it. It's
Giuliano
like a yo-yo.
started to pass, then he started to hold up, gathered it back in his hands, and he gets himself a loss. And that's going to be a 4th down now. Meanwhile, the clock's clicking. Under 2 minutes.
Once again, Borden in on the tackle.
I think we should mention there's no
Borden
relation to Pete Borden and the coach.
No
Marcus
relation,
Borden.
no, that's for sure.
Sorry, it's 3rd down, not 4th. Stevens taking its time. I think they've resigned the fact that they're not going to win this game. Powell, yeah, he's going to be flanked to the left now. You got to bet that that's the player they're going to be looking at. Whoa! Giuliano gets through, fakes it. He's got room. And all the way down to about the 1-yard line. No, they called a touchdown.
A touchdown. Just a fine run by Giuliano there. And you got to give him sort of broke to the right, came up, gave Scott Hops a quick fake and stepped inside of Scott and made the touchdown there.
That was all Michael Giuliano's effort.
I tell you. And he's put on a fine performance tonight.
Touchdown coming with 1:21 left to go in the game. Makes the score 30-18 in favor of East Brunswick. And Stevens will go for 2. You have 3 receivers split wide to the right. Giuliano passes to an open receiver. That was Powell.
Powell, of course.
And it's good, so that makes the score 30-20.
And I'll tell you, if you're Frank Zarl, you got to look at the bright spots and whatnot. And the Hawks did not give up. And And he's, like I say, he's found that connection between Powell and whatnot.
Yeah, take a look at Marcus Borden coaching out there.
Well, Marcus isn't pleased with that last score there. I think he felt they could have certainly prevented that.
A couple of little breakdowns there. Certainly, I think you have to admit that Mike Giuliano is really a quality quarterback. He throws well, and he certainly has proven himself
he's
as
certainly
a runner.
a developing quarterback. I mean, he can throw, he can run, and once he gets a few more games under his belt, he's gonna be a good one.
Not only that, but the cast of that surrounds him is all young.
Young fellas,
as
that's
they
for
become
sure.
more experienced, this team has something to look forward to. And so does East Brunswick, as they have a 30-20 lead with 1:21 left to go in the game. They're going to receive the ball. You have to think that we're looking at an onside kick here. Setting up to kick is number 48. That's Lubick. We've mentioned him. Here's your shift. And takes a long bounce.
Ooh.
Hops, grabs it, and comes down with it.
I'll tell you, the Bears had so many people up close there. Probably if they would have kicked it deeper and then got down there themselves, they would have had a better chance.
So Lubick gives it a nice try. That was a good onside kick.
Well, anytime you can get that high bounce on that last roll there, that's the way you want to do it.
Right. See our friend Greg Tafaro from the Home News and Tribune down there covering the game.
Huh.
Okay. Haas calling signals. He's been at the controls all night. Gives the ball off. Straight ahead, nothing fancy here.
I'll tell you, that Powell moves forward.
And who was carrying that ball? Bettis.
That's why the ball moved forward.
Stevens electing not to call any timeouts. Yes, they do. All right, that's the first one. They have two more.
And you see Frank Zarro on the other side coming out. And here's a young fella. Here's a guy, as I said, 27 years he spent with the Hawks there. But, Jim, this guy, if you spend 27 years coaching football, you love the game. But check this out. This guy had bypass surgery and still came back to coach football. That's what I call a love of football.
Oh, yes.
I'll tell you. So he's not going to be, he's going to hate to lose here, but I'm sure he's going to take something out of this loss here and try to have his troops ready for next week. And Marcus Borden, on the other hand, has got to be extremely pleased after last week. His troops have played exceptionally well. A few mistakes here and there, but for the most part, they've executed very well offensively, and defensively, they've been rather tough as well.
All right, I think the only thing that Borden is going to look at when he examines the films is how he can make some more adjustments defensively. They've come up big when they've had to, but Stevens, especially Giuliano, has been able to put 20 points on the board, and it's something that Marcus, if you really we're looking for a needle in a haystack here because we're not criticizing. This is a fine effort tonight by this East Brunswick team.
I'll tell you, Bettis is a bull.
Yep.
And again, Marcus has just chose to. The fact is, Bettis is much too valuable as a linebacker, to take the edge off him by putting him in their offense. Plus, he has a stable of good backs there.
Sure,
so
you got
there's
Corio and Brenner and Leota.
No need to use him. So, but you can see he's a load.
So 30 seconds left to go in the game. If Stevens elects not to call a timeout, this would be the last play of the game. And the official throws a flag for taking a little bit too much time.
Game?
Yeah. Clock stops with 22 seconds left. Okay.
Well, and that will do it, Jim.
I think so.
That's So 11 now consecutive years the Bears have beaten the Hawks, and that is an incredible feat.
Yes. And players hugging each other.
And a big win for East Brunswick. A real good win for East Brunswick.
Oh,
That's
sure.
what it's about.
It was convincing.
I mean, after last week, they could have just laid down and whatnot, but this team has bounced back, and a superb effort today. And you got to give Marcus and his troops a lot of credit.
Really was a fine effort. A 30-12 victory for East Brunswick over J.P. Stevens. East Brunswick evens its record at 1-1 now. Quickly, the scoring, East Brunswick jumped out to a 7-0 lead in the first period on Brian Merrigan's 73-yard punt return. Stevens came back to make it a 7-6 game on Mike Giuliano's 63-yard run. Then East Brunswick in the second period extended its lead to 14-6 on Sean Corio's 6-yard run. And that was followed by Scott Hops, the quarterback, running 17 yards to make it 21-6. That's where we stood at halftime. In the third period, Stevens marched right down the field to make it 21-12. Giuliano connecting to Davis on an 11-yard touchdown pass. 2 points was not good. It was 21-12. Then a 23-yard field goal by Chris Bettis made it 24-12 at East Brunswick to end the third quarter. And then finally, East Brunswick closed out things with Adam Petty on a quarterback option, throwing to Brian Merrigan in the corner of the end zone for a 13-yard touchdown, 30-12. J.P. Stevens came back for one more touchdown to make the final 30-20. Your final thoughts, Phil?
Again, just a good, solid victory for the Bears, and I think that's going to propel them somewhat in the red division. They're going to need it because, you know, the red division is awfully tough. I think that, you know, while no loss is ever really good, I think that tough game that they had against Bridgewater really served them well to be prepared for the day. And I think this game's going to carry over to the Edison game, and that's all you need is a little momentum and a little break here and there. But just an excellent win for the Bears today.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. And East Brunswick winning 30-12 over J.P. Stevens tonight. For Phil Hill, this is Jimmy Allinder saying have a good evening.